Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Janine Coons, Chief Workforce Development Officer, SME.
Good afternoon. What a great opportunity to stand in front of you. I look out and see all the young people who are part of our Bright Minds program. And if you heard on the video and in my role as a Chief Workforce Development Officer, I can tell you there's not a company in this country who is not looking for one of you. So you have a bright future in front of you. If you have interest in this field, which is outstanding, cool, full of technology, and doing things that affect our environment, our national security, our economic prosperity. So I hope that you've been able to see quite a bit here at our event, and you'll get to hear more from some modern makers. So I get the opportunity and privilege to introduce Zara Brunner, who is the Partnerships and Outreach Division Chief with the National Institute Office of Advanced Manufacturing. She's not only a colleague, she's a friend, and she does an outstanding job overseeing our Manufacturing USA institutes and a lot of the efforts that happen, and one of the key ones being modern makers. And I'd like to welcome her to the stage and start to share some of what's happening with our modern makers.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. As Janine said, I am Zara Brunner from the NIST Office of Advanced Manufacturing. Super excited to be here with you today. And we've got a great program. You got to meet some of our modern makers earlier. I know you got to also tour the floor, so you know what's happening here at South Tech. And we appreciate the work that SME's Education Foundation, Tooling U, all of the partners are doing to inspire and train the next generation of advanced manufacturing workers, which we hope will be you. So I will share a little bit about how this will go today. We again are doing this during something called Manufacturing Month. I don't know if you've heard of Manufacturing Day, but it's been around for about 12 years, and all of us in industry decided it's a way to get educators, students, parents into manufacturing facilities in your communities to see what modern manufacturing looks like, and also the careers, the types of ever-changing jobs that are available, and learn a little bit more about how do you get into those pathways, what kind of certifications, technical school training, community colleges, or PhD programs, what kind of jobs would those lead to? So that's what Manufacturing Day attempts to do, and we're at the end of it in Manufacturing Month. So just a little bit of it's appropriate that we're gathered at this time to talk to you because it again seeks to inspire the next generation of manufacturers and engineers. So thank you all for taking time to be here with us. We want to say that we have a great program for you. We are going to introduce the modern makers, but before we do, I have a drawing. We're going to do a raffle, and my colleague, Dr. Christina Jones, if I call your name, raise your hand. She is going to come around and give you your prize. We have at the table for everyone some markers, some superhero SI stickers from NIST, some women in STEM stickers, some pathways to manufacturing careers. So you can see if you had this kind of job, what type of skills would you need to get to go to the next kind of advanced manufacturing job, and what would that mean for job openings and more money? What type of well-paying jobs are out there? So all those things on the table, please take. They're for you, your friends, family, whomever. Okay, so we're going to have 3 drawings throughout today, and the first name, and I hope I'm going to get it right, is Grant Petrowski. So Grant, you win our STEM kit and some other little goodies. If you're here, raise your hand. If not, I'm going to have to go to the next person. Is Grant in the room? Oh, there's Grant. Okay. Yay for Grant. Excellent. So we'll have 2 more of those. So now we're going to bring up the stars of the show, and I'd like you to join me in welcoming to the stage Ty Middleton, Rodrigo Perez, John Louka, or just Louka, as he prefers, and Fatima Majid. And while they're getting settled, I will share, you saw a little bit about the Modern Makers program Perhaps you looked at the app or the website or a program and you learned that they each have a unique story and what led them into manufacturing, and that's what we're going to have them share with you today. But I'll do a quick introduction of each of them. They are 4 of the 16 first ever modern makers, and I will start with Ty. Ty is the Director of Education and Workforce Development at the Cyber Manufacturing Innovation Institute, headquartered in San Antonio, Texas. Ty builds cybersecurity careers by day and decadent desserts by night, and she'll share a little bit more about her interests when she talks with us. And Ty also served in the U.S. Army. Next, we have Rodrigo Perez, who is a systems integration engineer at MXD, that's Manufacturing Times Digital. They're headquartered in Chicago, Illinois. His teenage work experience at a construction site led to his engineering career. Next, Louka is an applications engineer at SESME, the Smart Manufacturing Institute. That's headquartered in Los Angeles. And his love for tinkering with technology when he was younger, like remote control cars, shaped his career path into advanced manufacturing. And finally, Fatima is the Talent Programs Manager at LIFT, an Advanced Materials Institute headquartered in Detroit, Michigan. And Fatima has come full circle, as she describes it, got introduced to the advanced manufacturing technologies as a young student who participated in a science and engineering fair in Detroit, and just returned recently to be a volunteer judge at that very same fair. So they are 4 modern makers here with you today to, again, share a little bit about their stories. We created Modern Makers as a way to celebrate and showcase people, their careers, and the pathways that led them into them. And we hope through these individual stories, these individual profiles, that will inspire people to see themselves in manufacturing and to understand, by raising awareness of manufacturing careers with students and workers, all the different opportunities that are out there. Manufacturing has a home for everyone, and there's no one wrong or right way to get into it, and there's fantastic opportunities out there. So each of our modern makers shares a passion and a sense of purpose, and you'll hear that come out in their stories, and they all represent the mission of Manufacturing USA to secure the future of advanced manufacturing in the United States through innovation, collaboration, and education. So now, with that, what we're going to do is they're each going to share a little bit about their stories. We'll have some trivia questions for you afterwards, and then we'll go into a little bit of a panel discussion. So first up, I will turn it over to Ty.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Zara. My name is Ty Middleton, and I'm the Director of Education and Workforce Development for CyMani, the Cybersecurity Manufacturing Innovation Institute. And I'll tell you a little bit about my story growing up. I'm originally from Virginia, and so I grew up in Richmond, Virginia. And I can tell you, when I was in high school, I did not have a plan. When I was in 9th grade, I wanted to be a lawyer. When I was in 10th grade, I wanted to be a doctor. When I was in 11th grade, I wanted to play sports. And when I was in 12th grade, I just wanted to graduate from high school. So I didn't have a plan, and I certainly didn't think about manufacturing as a career back then. I went to college and still didn't have a plan, and so I joined the military. And the great thing about joining the military was it allowed me to have new experiences, to travel around the world, to do great things. And I love to tell people that my first job out of college was shooting down airplanes, because that's what I got to do when I was in the Army. So got to have a lot of great experiences in the military, and decided when I wanted to get out, the only thing that I wanted to do was help people, and help people by training them and making sure that they were set up for success in their careers. And so I became an HR professional, which you think about manufacturing, you don't think about HR. You think about, getting out there and working on the machines and, really, interacting with everything that's on the floor. But HR professionals are there too, responsible for the training and the development of everyone that's working. And so that's kind of how I got to where I am now, going through HR, building training programs, and training people that are out there in the workforce, just like you all will be very, very soon. Whether you're a freshman and you're thinking about, maybe I want to be a welder, or maybe you're a senior and you don't have a plan. At the end of the day, you need that development and you need that training. And so that's what we do at Cymani. We train professionals, and we train them in the areas of cybersecurity. We want to make sure that you all know how to protect your own equipment, how to protect your own information, and how to make your entire company safe and secure. So thank you so much. I'm going to hand it over to Zara.
Okay, but actually we're going to go right down this way, and
Back
next
to you,
we'll
Rodrigo.
hear from
Yeah.
Rodrigo Perez, please.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Rodrigo. I'm the Systems Integration Engineer at MXD. A little bit about me and how I got to where I am today. I was just like you guys, students at one point, and it all started like around 16. I was a varsity soccer player, I thought that was going to be where I was going to be. I was going to be going pro in a soccer team, and I worked with my father in a construction company. And so those were the two things that really were in my life during that time, was construction and soccer. And one day, I happened to run into an electronic engineer on site, and gave me the opportunity to learn about robots, learn how to build computer systems and how to machine. So he asked me the question, "Hey, do you want to work for me over the summer?" I was very hesitant because I didn't know what engineering was at the time. I was like, "Yeah, I'm interested, but you may not want me." And so, but I was open to the idea. So yeah, a week later, he showed me everything he knew, and he kind of guided me how to machine mounting components, how to solder surface components on PCB boards, and how to connect everything, and how does everything communicate, and how do you test that? And it was a very, very life-changing experience for me, because that opened that door for me to go into engineering. And so I was like, this is very cool. I get to make my own parts. I get to work with robots. I get to test them. And these robots go into, inspect different pipe systems and things like that. So I took that and started going into CAD. And I started there and then enrolled into engineering school and pursued mechanical engineering as my degree. And started off at a community college from there, and then moved over to a 4-year university and started at an automotive industry, kind of learning about cars, because that's kind of what I was fascinated about. I always loved to take things apart and build them. And so that was the first thing I tried out. And then, I continued playing soccer. Obviously, I didn't pursue that professional soccer career, but I still play it to this day. And I take some of the things I learned in the field and also apply it to my job. Engineering is a teamwork. You're not going to be the only one on the team. You're going to be working with other people on there, and you're going to be collaborating. And that's one of the things I love about working at MXD, is that we have that collaboration where we work with other companies, and we work on these projects to kind of build solutions for the world at this point. Yeah. And so now I'm a systems integration engineer. I get to work with advanced manufacturing technologies. Digital twins is kind of my new thing nowadays, and it's been awesome since. But yeah, I'll pass it to Louka.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Like my earlier two colleagues, when I was sitting where you were, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know where I was going. I knew I liked adventures, and I knew I liked solving puzzles. And at some point during college, my love of adventure led me to going way up to the north of Canada to work in the mines. Yes, it was freezing, but it was my first time seeing huge machines and robots collaborating with each other, and I knew I wanted to be in that field forever. After that, I finished my degree, and I joined a company called Rockwell Automation, and that's where I learned how to program the machines to do what we want, have them talk to each other like we have conversations, and share information so that they can perform better. This led me to one of the largest consumer packaged goods manufacturers in the world, and I got to travel with them a lot. I ended up in Italy for one summer, and that was the most delicious pasta I've ever had. So it was worth the degree and worth all the hard work it took to get there. As I mentioned, I do like new experiences, and I know some of you are thinking, well, isn't manufacturing very repetitive? Aren't these machines doing the same thing day in, day out? You're not going to believe how temperamental some of these robots and machines are, because even the seasonal change in temperature can alter the material enough so the process is slightly different. And the same way humans age, the machine is also aging, and we need to do little tweaks here and there to their code so that they perform at the same level as before. And I know there's a misconception that to get into this field, you got to be either good at math or physics, but that's not true. You're all digitally native. You were all born in the cell phone era, and we're extremely jelly of that, because you guys are already qualified to work in manufacturing. And it's not just for the people who are good at math and physics. People who are into game design, I know we've got augmented reality and virtual reality use cases. The AI recommendation engines in social media, that's not too unlike the AI we use on machinery. And we can even take it a step further. Social media takes a while for results to happen. When I turn on that AI on the machine, you see the results of your work immediately. Even if you like spot the difference games or Where's Waldo, we've got cameras that detect slight defects between product and product. And these cameras can actually teach themselves. So maybe Waldo can find himself by himself finally. And for the artsy students who want nothing to do with math, I don't blame you, one, but we need artists to design our products and things that we see around so that the world is a more beautiful place when we shop. My advice to you is do something you love and you enjoy. Naturally, you'll dedicate more time to it and master that craft, and a lot of success and self-fulfillment comes with that. So stay curious, keep learning, and I hope we get to work together soon. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you,
Fatima?
thank you. Fatima, please.
Yes, so I want to tell you all a story about failing forward. My name is Fatima Majid, and I am from Detroit, Michigan. My father was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, and my mother is born and raised in Pensacola, Florida. I'll tell you why that is significant a little bit later. But obviously, when you think of Detroit, you think of the Motor City. So I was bred and exposed to math, science, and applied technology. I took algebra in 5th grade. And so I went into that industry quite easily through participating in DAPSEP engineering programs, science fair, and throughout my career I've had full circle moments, as Zara told you a little bit before. But I also decided to go to and test into a school, Martin Luther King Junior Senior High School, and it was there that I did a dual enrollment program. So while in that high school, I also went to a vocational technical school studying AutoCAD and board drafting. There, I was just exposed. I was like, this is awesome. I decided right there I wanted to go into mechanical engineering for college. Before I even got to college though, I had an opportunity to intern with one of our top automotive companies, General Motors, and designing the headlamp and the tail lamp of a concept vehicle at the time. Such an awesome opportunity for high school students. So there are opportunities for you at this young age. You guys have the talent and the expertise and excitement, and you have the ideas within you right now. But right after that internship, I then went to Tuskegee University in Alabama. I studied mechanical engineering, and also I was inspired by the Tuskegee Airmen. And I decided to go on scholarship and went through leadership training at Lackland Air Force Base as I wanted to become a Tuskegee Airman. While at the university, I felt like I loved doing some research. I started to do a little biomedical engineering research as well. Then out of college, I was honored to get hired with a company called Parker Hannifin Corporation. But also, before that with the Air Force ROTC, unfortunately, I was honorably discharged. So I felt at the time that I was a failure, that I did not get to serve, right? But I continued to walk. And when I was hired with Parker Hannifin, I got into industrial hydraulics. So I started with mechanical, then I got into industrial hydraulics as sales engineer. That was such an exposure to all the different companies and projects. I was been able to share a little bit of that with some of the students over at the booth. So that was pretty fun. But a few years, 4 years into the company, I actually had a lifestyle change where my daughter was born, and I decided then and there that I wanted to focus on her. And I left corporate America, and here it is again. I felt my leaving, it felt like a failure to me. Here it was that I couldn't balance being a mother and being a working mother at the same time. So I just took my severance and I took care of my daughter for a number of years until it was time for her to walk, right? So I decided to go into education. And as you know, education is really in high demand for math teachers and science teachers. And that is where I felt that I had such a love and passion for sharing my experiences with students. I loved teaching students. Every single day, I introduced the students to a scientist every single day of that school year, a new scientist, to show people, yes, you can go and be an athlete, you can be an entertainer, and you can be a scientist. So it was there I started to do STEM advocacy, again, sharing my experience. But guess what? I didn't have my certification. I was not a certified teacher. And again, I felt like a failure for the third time. So as I am inspired by the people that I was sharing to the students, I felt like I needed to be on the board. So I went to pursue my master's in biomedical engineering local to my city. I, again, loved it. So I went from mechanical engineering to industrial to engineering to now I'm studying biomedical engineering. Halfway through the program, COVID happened. Not only did COVID happen, my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. So immediately, I withdrew. I needed to dedicate that time and become a full-time caretaker for my father. I'm so glad that I had that time with him, and I've been able to grieve 6 months after that. He passed away, but guess what? An opportunity came where someone reached out to me and asked if I would become a robotics instructor. So I accepted the opportunity after having done volunteer with different organizations and volunteering with Bex IQ and things of that nature. And it was there, I had not even heard of Lyft. And when I found out what it was, I was given the opportunity to transition and help those who are transitioning military service members to help them in getting a certification, right? So I came full circle with that military opportunity. I was also able to train others. So as I got my certification, now I'm able to teach again and help over a dozen others get their certification. I'm able to expose my daughter to such this wonderful industry in advanced manufacturing. And I'm working with the equipment that I had worked prior to in my career. So that is what I mean by failing forward. And guess what? As I'm standing up programs, I'm able to stand up programs in Detroit, Michigan, and guess where the other location is? Pensacola, Florida, where my mother was born. So when I wear this lift pin, I wear it with pride because I know that failing forward is a wonderful opportunity to share and inspire others. No path is linear. Be welcome to pivot and say yes, because this is a wonderful industry.
Amazing. Please join me in thanking them for sharing these very, very powerful stories. I think you get a sense of just how much passion they have for this work. And a little bit of their stories, hopefully inspiring you and opening your minds into the possibilities that are out there. So now what we'd like to do, we're going to have some trivia questions here in a moment, so if we could get the Slido ready. I'm going to do another drawing, but I'm going to need a drum roll or some kind of energy to just get it going. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that much better. All right. And the next winner is Olivia Salcido. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Olivia, hand up. Dr. Jones will bring your gift to you, Olivia. Thank you very much. Okay, and so now I will tee up what we're going to do here. We've got, I think, 4 questions that we want to ask you. So if you're unfamiliar with Slido, just use your phone. You know the QR code. So you get the QR code, and you'll go to hashtag 2023 South Tech, and then there's Manufacturing USA Room. You'll find that there. So we'll just give that a minute for everybody to go there. We've got one question that we want everybody to participate. We're going to do a word cloud around. So maybe we can go to we can start the Slido. Okay, when you think of manufacturing, what comes to mind? So just free associate. Type something in. What kind of words do you think of when you think of manufacturing? Product, create, steel. Metal, okay. Keep it going. There's got to be more words. We just heard these stories. Anyone else? You're not identified. Just keep it going. No right or wrong answer. Oh, there we go. Now it's all coming together. Okay, machines is in the center, and we certainly see them on the floor here. Create, creation, creating, love that. Production of something, making products. The production of any product, building and innovating. These are fantastic words. People. The people up here, absolutely. The people doing the work is definitely what we're hoping to connect to. Any of these words as they're coming out, anything jump out at you all seeing them?
Yeah.
Anything resonate? What ones resonate with you?
Creation.
Creation, okay.
Machines and creation.
AI is certainly a word that some people might not associate with manufacturing, but that is definitely there. That's the next generation.
Yep.
That's upon us, the innovation.
I saw Detroit.
Nice,
Somebody was
okay.
listening. I
All
like
right.
innovation. I think innovation is a very good word because, manufacturing allows you to be, innovative. It's not just simply, creating a singular product. It's working with different types of machines. It's working with different types of, electronics and components. And so, I think that innovation piece really stands out.
Excellent. Sums up a lot of what's up there. That would be the theme behind a lot of these words. Okay, great. Thank you for your participation on that. We have another question, and if we could move to this. Okay, so this is a little bit of a poll, and there is a right answer. How many open manufacturing jobs will need to be filled by 2030? 4 million, 400,000, or 40,000? We'll give it a minute for all of you to answer that question. We've got 64% leading the way with 4 million, 65, 500,000, a couple people saying 40,000. But yeah, the winners, obviously, you all know. You've heard the message here that industry needs people now, and it's only going to increase. So over 4 million jobs by 2030. And as Janine mentioned earlier, a lot of the conversation that the institutes here, that the industry members who were up here earlier, everyone is talking about the need to attract the next generation and expose them to the skills needed to work in today's manufacturing for a variety of reasons, including we've got a retiring workforce and just people with skills that can be applicable in the manufacturing facility. So that is the correct answer, 82% of you. Thank you. Next question. All right, here's one on salary. How does it pay? What was the salary for manufacturing workers on average, including benefits, in 2021? 75,000 is leading the way, 95,000 is 35%, less than 50, 16%, we'll give that a minute. So far 75 is coming in at the top. All right, well, in this instance, the majority is not right. The actual the salary is over $95,000. So again, that's probably again to that misconception of manufacturing. And so the Bureau of Labor Statistics and others track these things. And so in 2021, okay, now you're getting up there, 95,000. To be exact, $95,990 in 2021. So manufacturing pays. And there's all sorts of different ways, again, to get into it. So final question, and then we'll have a little bit of time for some questions amongst the panel. Okay, so this is interesting. It's a true or false question. So the BMW plant, which is 12 miles from here in Greer, South Carolina, hope I said that right, produces more than any other BMW plant worldwide. True or false? Give it another second. You're not surprised by this. It seems like you get it. Yes, it's true. And again, BMW, German owned, but here in South Carolina, produce more than any of their other facilities worldwide. So I thought that was fascinating. In fact, it's 1,500 cars a day, and they are one of the largest employers in the state of South Carolina, in addition to other companies that are large manufacturers, and they're all, again, making things, producing products, innovating. So that's Boeing, GE, Volvo, Kraft Foods, those are all made, that's manufacturing, and Michelin. So those are just a couple of the others who joined BMW in the state of South Carolina. So that concludes our trivia. Thank you all very much for playing. And now we'll go to some questions that I want to ask the modern makers here. And we also have a few minutes at the end. We'd love to hear your questions. We've got a microphone. And if you have a burning question and my questions are boring and you want to just ask it, please raise your hand and we'll make sure that we get the microphone over to you. But we have, I think, about 20 minutes before you all need to go out. And we've got to make sure we save time for the last drawing. And we'll make sure that we get you out of here on time before your buses pick you up. So my first question, what does manufacturing mean to you? Who wants to start?
Well, I think manufacturing is definitely necessary in the industry as it is a concern of national security and economic growth. When we talk about, there's different organizations, Department of Defense, Department of Energy, Department of Labor, we're all interested in manufacturing and creating things that is going to have America stay at the forefront of the industry, right? We want to make a global impact, and this is why we have to do the work to develop this talent pipeline to recruit as many of you into this industry, because it is of vital importance to our nation.
Thank you. Fatima, anybody else have anything to?
So on a personal level, it really is the playground where my interests personally and my career interests intersect, and I can flex the creative muscles in creating new things daily and solving problems. So I find that incredibly rewarding.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, it's where all the action's happening, guys. That's where things are being produced. That's where innovation and ideas happen. So I like to think of it as like it's a production environment where things are happening, not just parts, but where ideas are generated. So it's kind of like an incubator to me. I like to think of it that way.
Thank you.
I used to think of manufacturing as simply you go, you produce something, and then you leave. That repetitive work where you're making one thing or you're making two things, or either you're running supply chain. But what I've learned about manufacturing is it's so much more. So for those of you that came over earlier, we talked about the cybersecurity and the things that happen within the manufacturing sector. You think about things like robotics, you think about things like AI. You know, it's more than just a piece of equipment that's on the floor. It's about the people and the various careers that can enter into the manufacturing sector. So manufacturing is not what it used to be. It's not what it was 20 or 30 years ago. It's so much more. It's a community of people that have different experiences, different backgrounds, and different capabilities that all come together into one innovative space, and they're able to create and produce something that means something to so many people out there in the workforce.
Awesome, thank you, Ty. Yeah, and I would say from the government standpoint, when we think of manufacturing, we think of opportunity. Manufacturing provides opportunities to workers, to communities, to the nation's economic security, its national security. So it's just full of tremendous opportunities. So that would be my one word. Okay, so now I think I'd like to go a little bit into each of your jobs. If you can just say, like, what's something you love? Like, what do you get up and you're excited about and makes you want to go into the office every day? What's one thing about your job that you really love? Anyone want to take that first?
I like to. Okay.
Rodrigo?
No, I like the fact that I get to learn something every day. I love research. I love learning and testing things. It's really rewarding when you figure out something, kind of like a puzzle, right? When you learn how something works, you get a level of satisfaction. You're like, you kind of want more. All right, I was able to turn something on using a computer or something. You got it to output something else. You're able to predict something using machine learning, for example. So the fact that I get to try all these new things that are coming out in advanced manufacturing, that's what wakes me up every morning to hop on that train and get on that scooter and make my way to work every day. And so, yeah, it's the R&D side of it, and also the collaboration. I love working on teams. The fact that I can work with my team member and be like, hey, I was thinking about this, but let me get your perspective on it. What do you think? Am I doing this right? Am I not? And we have these conversations, we brainstorm together, and then I come to realize, well, if we work together on this, we can make it even better. So it's having that environment where you have people working with like-minded people, and you guys are coming up with these solutions. I think it's great, and everyone in my team kind of brings a little bit of different flavor of background. I have a coworker that's a CNC machinist, like he's a pro at that, and then I have another coworker who's very good at systems architecture, and so we all have like a different skill to bring to the table. So it's always great to see them there. And I come over with a problem, or they come over with a problem, and we just solve it together, and we go at it. I think that's another piece to it as well.
So
Fantastic.
I second that. My favorite part of the job is you can only be good at a limited number of things, but manufacturing is the product of so many different fields: chemistry, biology, engineering. And you don't have time to learn all of that. So every time I step into the office and we're working on a multidisciplinary problem, I get to learn from the experts, and I get to expand my horizon. And every once in a while, I'll get sent to a chocolate factory, and I'm allowed to get the extra chocolates off the rejects, and it's definitely one of my favorite moments.
I think for me, what gets me up every day are people just like you, like the students, the people that are in the workforce that are working. There's always something to be taught, and there are always opportunities to learn new things. I consider myself a constant learner. For some reason, I'm always in school. I'm in school again now for some strange reason. But I think that there's so many things out there, and when you look at those 4 million jobs that have to be filled within the next few years, guess who's going to fill them? The people that are right here in this room. All of you are a part of that workforce that needs to be filled. And so what gets me going and what gets me up every single day is knowing that there are people just like you, students, people that are in the workforce that need to be trained. There are learning and development opportunities that are out there. How can I help you be the best you in the workforce? That is the thing that motivates me the most. So seeing all of your faces and seeing how you all are on like a fantastic path already in high school, steps way ahead of me when I was in high school, but knowing that you all are out here and you all are willing and you all are eager, you're going to need that education, you're going to need that training in order to be successful. And that's what wakes me up every morning, puts that smile on my face and say, okay, it's time to go, it's time to train. So
Love it.
that's me.
Yeah, what excites me, obviously, you heard my love for teaching, right? But as a former robotics instructor and now a program manager, now I get the opportunity to help others get certifications, whether that be welding, CNC, through the American Welding Society, getting a SOCA certification robotics. So not only instructing them and getting them enrolled, but helping them to go into the industry and get not just a job, a good paying job with competitive wages so that they can come home and take care of their families, right? Because that's what it really is about. How can we have sustainable opportunities for our families at the end of the day? That's what I love to do.
Fantastic, thank you. So I think on that note too, and you've said, Fatima, that you believe anyone can learn
Zara.
to work with robotics, right?
Zara.
Anyone can learn to use the technology. So
Not to interrupt, but to interrupt, we have a number of questions that have already come in from the students on Slido. And given the
okay.
time, I do want to get us to get to some of them.
Okay, great.
Someone asked about getting a prize. Unfortunately, we cannot give you a prize, but we do have one more raffle left. And so before the end of this, we'll raffle it off again. But there's been a lot of talk about economics, security, good paying jobs. And someone asked, are any of you rich? And I'm going to couple it with another question that was asked, which was which jobs pay the most. So if you could comment on whether or not you're rich or well off or comfortable, and then add in your tech sector, which jobs are paying the most, I think that the students would love to hear that.
Thank you, Christina. Who wants to take it?
Not rich. I wish I could be, but to me, being rich isn't what it's about. It's finding those moments in life that provides purpose and meaning, you know, getting to the heart of guiding someone along their path and having those enjoyable moments. If I could simply afford, just last weekend, to take my daughter to a theater, that to me is a rich experience. And I was afforded that through, obviously, my company, Lyft, and the industry that I'm in. Very simple, humble means.
Who's rich? Anybody rich? Who's among you?
Past a certain level of income, you're not going to feel any richer. And the richness comes from knowledge and self-fulfillment in liking what you do. And as long as you can afford the basic things that make you happy, which manufacturing certainly guarantees that, everything else for that rich and full feeling is actually a mental exercise in developing yourself.
Well, I look at that question a little differently. Am I rich? I don't know. But if money is the problem, and you're an engineer, you know how to solve problems, you can fix that. Because again, it's just like a puzzle, right? If you want to be able to figure out a way to generate X amount of money, you find a way to solve it. And I'll give you guys an example. Like, I like to kind of invest, right? Real estate is kind of nice. So for myself, having a career in kind of this field allows me to kind of utilize that and invest into other ways so I can generate income. And so I think if you're within this field, you have that ability to, start investing money and finding ways to generate assets that can produce money. So hopefully that answers your question.
Well, I think you all kind of addressed the rich question, and I agree with all of you. richness for me is my experiences and you know, kind of fulfillment in life. But I wanted to kind of tackle I think there was another question related to like career and, you know, what are the careers that pay the most? When you're selecting your career, one of the things that you want to do is truly find something that you love, find something that you're passionate about. Because if you're doing something that you love and something that you're passionate about, it doesn't feel like work. It's something that you want to do and something that you want to get up and do every single day. It never feels like work a day in your life. And so when you're choosing your career, think about what are those things that drive you? What are those things that make you happy? You can also think about those things that make you a lot of money. I think that that's important too. But really pick something that drives you. Don't pick a job for the money. Pick a job because it's something that you love and that you're passionate about. Because you're going to find that to be a lot more rewarding and fulfilling than any job that pays a lot of money. And it sounds kind of crazy right now, but trust me, I was sitting in your seat not too well, maybe it was long ago, but I was sitting in your seat and I'm thinking, how can I make the most money? You make the most money, but you may be miserable doing it. Find something that you love and then turn that into your passion, and you will never feel poor, I promise.
Fantastic. Love that answer. And I would say also to some of the data that I recall from a few years ago, chemical engineers, entry-level chemical engineers are the highest paying. So if you're looking to get rich and not take this advice, that's a track. Obviously, like I think the modern maker said earlier, there's different types of jobs. So if you want to really be rich, then you're going to run the company. You're going to be an inventor, other ways that you can make money and focus on that. But there are those pathways. And I would say, I wouldn't hasten to guess, but at least in my experience, I'm richer than the way I grew up, right? So I grew up in a rural, very impoverished area in Western New York. And by those standards, what I've come from, what I've been able to do in my life, like you said, I feel rich. I'm blessed, and I think that you can't put a price tag on some of that, but I'm living very, very comfortably. And that's the message about manufacturing, is that it does provide living wage, middle-class jobs. Now, if you want to get rich, like I said, there's different ways to do that. So Christina, any other good questions?
A lot more.
Okay, great.
So someone asked about soft skills. I really like this question. So people skills, right, which are also soft skills, are often overlooked in manufacturing. How do we improve this? And what are some specific soft skills that you deem necessary for manufacturing roles?
Oh, wow.
It's a good one.
So this is such a great question, because I learned Amatrol, if you all turn right around in that far corner there, Amatrol has educational modules, and I don't work for them, I'm not sponsored, this message is not sponsored, but they have educational modules where they include soft skills in their curriculum. And I think that is phenomenal, because yes, you can learn all this technical knowledge, but can you work with a team? How are you communicating? How do you organize your projects? Those are all some very just as useful soft skills as the hard skills necessary for the industry as well. I think soft skills can take you very far as well. Yep.
One of the most important soft skills I've learned over the years is, as an engineer, I tend to focus on hard, measurable deliverables. And I realize that's not always the best answer, because I can come up with the best product, but if the community support isn't there to take that product forward, I've failed as an engineer. I created a cool product that no one's learned to use. So it's important to remember that other perspectives might not make sense in your mind, but in the bigger picture, those people with different experiences give you insight into what a successful product would look like.
Yeah. For soft skills, I would highly recommend communication, learn to communicate with one another, leadership skills, lead a project, something like that. Because it's nice to be able to lead a team and tackle on the problem, and I think you can carry that on everywhere you go, right? Maybe one day you'll be in charge of leading an R&D project, or one day you'll be in charge of tackling an issue at a company. And so having those skills, you can You can do a lot with that.
I
Ty?
would just say from my career as an HR professional, whenever you think about professional development, a lot of people think about training or they think about, an educational opportunity. There's so many training opportunities out there to learn how to be a better team player or how to communicate effectively. Take advantage of those things, even in high school. I know that there's some programs that are out there, after school clubs, extracurricular activities that focus on things like, there's a listening club. At my son's school, he has a listening club. I don't know how well he does in that, but he's a member of that. The debate team, how to talk to people, how to work with people. Other, sports that are out there that teaches you teamwork, that teaches you leadership. So when you think about those soft skills that you're going to use in the workforce, think about those things now. Think about that as you interact with your peers at school. Think about it as you participate in certain activities. Think about, a group project, a team project. You need everyone to participate in that. How do you work as a team? How can you develop yourself so that you can be a better team player, be a better follower, be a better leader? So take advantage of those opportunities now. That's how you're going to develop those soft skills and continue throughout your career and your journey. That professional development, those soft skills, that's out there and it's available to you.
Great answers. Christina, other question? Oh, okay.
Yes. What is your favorite machine? And is there a funny or unique story or experience from working in a plant that you could share with us?
Yeah.
Who wants it?
So obviously, I'm going to say robotics. Everybody in here should study robotics. But yeah, and the funny story is I started to do some training probably over a year ago. And we have a large facility and there's a lot of machines in our organization. And metal attracts cold. So in the wintertime, we're here programming this robot. And it was so cold, we had to go upstairs and get our gloves, right, to try and sit and operate this robot. But it is just, again, it's rewarding. I don't know if that's a funny story, but but yeah, regardless of the circumstance, that just was, one of my favorites. And I don't know if you ever see the board. It shows that I'm a sci-fi lover. So I love when I watch an Iron Man and I see the robots. And I'm telling you, once you start seeing some movies, you'll be like, oh, there's a robot. You're going to recognize just because of this time here.
Funny stories, favorite machines, anyone?
I was on a startup once, and the glorious machine I was working on was a diaper machine. And I don't know if you know how fast diapers are made, but it's spitting out 500 diapers a minute. And there was a break towards the end of the line, so they were just flying off the reject. And I'm not kidding, there were 20 grown people running around collecting diapers off the computers, off the robots, of everything. So I think that was one of the most funnest moments.
Good stuff.
For me, it's kind of like a love and hate thing for welding robots. I'll tell you the funny story, but why do I love it? Because it's very cool. Being able to control a robot and telling it what you want it to do, and then seeing it in action is great. And so I like seeing it. Oh, what do? I start recording on my phone, right? And I leave it there, and I'm like, I'm gonna go turn it on so I can see it. And I forget to take out my phone out of the cell, and so my phone kind of melts away. So that's my funny story.
I can't top that. I don't have a funnier story than that. My phone never melted away. I can tell you my favorite machine is the CNC machine. I love to see things being built using the CNC machine, but I also like to see people operating the CNC machine. I'm not going to touch it because I don't want to break it. It costs way too much money. And like I said, I am not rich, so I can't pay for it, but I do love to see the operation of the CNC machine.
Thank you. Thank you. Christina, one more question. I think we have time.
Yes, and I was going to ask, does anyone want to ask a question live instead of, there's a few more on the Slido, but does anyone, perfect. Give me a second to reach you. Can I get by? Excuse me. Where is that?
Hello, I'm
screen.
Riley Lemieux, and my question specifically is, while being an engineer, what is sort of the most critical thinking, like, I guess you would say processes that you would have to do? Like, do you have to break down your problem, or what is that sort of process look like?
The first step, the most important step is and it's a soft skill too, is learning how to listen. A lot of us hear, but seldom do we listen. Understanding the problem you're trying to solve, and not within just the context of your skill set, within the context of what the problem means to the customer, community, whoever you're delivering it to, really defining the outcomes for success is the most critical thing for me, because that lays out the roadmap of the next 10 steps I'm going to take.
Any other contributions?
Yeah, I would say pay attention to the details and follow instructions, right? Because when you do things right the first time, you don't have to circle around and, make mistakes along the way, even though sometimes that still happens. But you can save yourself a lot of time by following the instructions and paying attention to detail.
I like to kind of use the word map the process, right? So write it out. I like to draw a lot. I'm a very visual person, so I like using whiteboards. And so kind of map it out, see what is happening, and then kind of break it down from there. You have your start to finish, and then once you have a visual, it helps me to kind of break it down, and then you add in, fill in the gaps. Yeah.
No? All right, well, we have one more drawing. I'm gonna need some energy again. Last raffle, thank you very much. All right, gotta put my glasses back on just a minute. Let's see, our final winner is Maddox Scott. Oh, right front center, love the enthusiasm. Your prize is coming to you.
I love the excitement.
Yes, that was a great reaction. Excellent reaction. Well, while Christina's bringing that forward, thank you all for your attention, your engagement. We hope you learned something, you were inspired by these stories. You can see yourself in manufacturing in different ways. Again, we've got materials on the table, the Modern Makers, there's a QR code to manufacturingusa.com. You'll learn more about their stories, including what they would tell their 14-year-old selves if they had to do it all over again, some of their interests, their best days. So learn more about the Modern Makers. We need you, so consider being a Modern Maker. I'd also like to thank all the people behind the scenes who always make the work happen. They're part of manufacturing too. So the SME team who worked really hard and made things happen. Sandy from the Education Foundation, and Sarah and Nicole and Dave and Christina and Casey and the team at NIST, and Jillian Cacciello, who, if she's around here, has been from SESME team, has been working so hard. And all of the people, again, at the institutes who do the work day in, day out, that we are so proud to lift up and support. And for you all taking time out of your day, very busy day, to come here just to talk to you guys. I think that is a testament to your passion, and we really, really appreciate everything you do. Thank you for being our Modern Makers. Please join me in thanking them.